Okay, I have a question here from Lil Feezy who asks, Yo Farai, what's up? I was wondering, during gain staging, what will be a nice level to keep the beat and vocals before hitting the mixer? And that's what we'll be answering in today's video. To start it off, I don't have an exact answer. It is really going to be dependent on the beat, so stay tuned and I'm going to show you how I set it up. So yeah, man, time and time again, I try hard to answer as many questions as I can. At this point, sometimes I got about 30 Instagram, reading requests. So if I am not able to answer every question, I apologize. But as you can see, I will try my best to answer the most popular questions. So, this is a common type of question. You can see here, right here, Swifty is asking, how are your vocals heard so well even though the main vocal mixer is nearly 1/3 of the instrumental in decibels? So basically what he's saying is the beat is a lot louder than the vocal, but how are the vocals still being heard? And that's what we're going to be answering in today's video. So let's close the browser and open up some FL Studio. I'm going to open up the punk rap vocal effect. This is the 2021 edition, and we'll be looking at pretty much a perfect scenario of how we can level our beat before getting those vocals into the equation so that we can have a good recording session and then be able to actually mix the vocals. One common issue I see a lot of the time with people is that you're already trying to crush your vocals into an already mastered beat and then trying to mix that all together, and really you just have no resolution left, you have no headroom left, and you're just kind of fighting for space. So tip number one, or method number one, this is the gospel actually, is, okay, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to import the stems for the vocal effect so that we have everything in the session, okay? But first off, man, we can visually look at this beat and say that it is a pretty loud beat, okay? I mean, look how loud it is. There is no headroom left. If we were to listen to the whole mix, I'm just going to turn it down so we don't destroy our ears over here. We can barely even hear the vocals, right? And some people are actually going to try and record like this. They're going to import their beat and then try and record their vocals, and things not going to work out. So pretty much the first thing I like to do, right, is not focus any time or effort on the vocals. I start off my, recording session solely focusing on the beat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this beat, okay, and I'm going to route it towards the beat channel. So as you can see, right, because this track is so densely packed, we need a lot of headroom to be able to reasonably record our vocals over it, right? So as you can see, what I decided on in this mix was -17.7 was going to work out, but a lot of people would say, man, that's really too soft to be able to listen on headphones while recording, right? It's just not going to be a very fun session because the beat's going to sound really soft. It's not going to work. What we can then do is we can actually just use our mastering limiter or our master limiter to just make up the gain. So what I generally do is, we can do the math here, right? I have -17.7, and then on the master channel I'm adding about, I think that is 14 dB, okay? So I leave about 2.3 dB, 2.7 dB for everything else to kind of fit into the track. That's why I'm not doing the absolute correct math here. I'm not going -17.3 and then +17.3 on the master channel. I would do that if I only had the beat and not to worry about the vocals. But as you can see, we need a bit of headroom for everything else to fit in. So once I've done that, right, I can actually reasonably listen to my song. As you can see, boom, now we are sitting at -3, and that is perfect for going to YouTube. So as you can see, this all works out. So, from here on out, this is where I can then start importing my vocals, okay? So a little quick tip right here for everyone that is generally recording with the template. You don't have to record with all of these effects on. Sometimes there might be one EQ that's going to thin out your vocal too much. I find this a problem when I'm using my own templates, so definitely try this out. But I generally record with, as I always say, a bit of saturation and a SSL EQ, and I'm good to go, right? I might not even use the saturation, but in this case, punk rap, we want to be hearing a little bit of that grit. And because we're using a template, we have all of the other effects kind of set up for us, so we don't have to waste time. But if you are just setting up your vocal and your beat, this is pretty much it, right? So now let's pretend that I recorded these vocals. So we have these two vocal takes over here as they are, without going to any sort of mixer track. Blood on my head. That also is not going to work, all right? What we need to do is we need to add our vocals into our template, or we need to gain stage our vocals as well, because we want to be able to monitor the rough mix. Now, what is the rough mix? The rough mix is really just a rough draft of what the final track is going to sound like, and in my opinion, it means that the vocal is, I would say, 80% leveled to how you would want the rest of the track to sound, or how you'd want the final mix to sound. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my vocal now, just as we did with the beat, into our mix, and then we'll talk about exactly what our mixer chain is doing so that you can replicate this. So as you can see, I got the main vocals set up to the right place, and then we'll play them without any other effects other than the ones that I recommend.
Blood on my hands, I rip the heart out, get fed to my back so I cannot stop now.
And suddenly now we kind of getting there, right? Things are sounding a lot smoother. So what am I doing that is allowing the vocal to sound a bit better? Well, first off, I am dropping the level because I want to be able to, I want to get a little bit of a rough mix going, right? So let's just copy this value. Let's just say it started off like this, loud.
Blood on my hands, I rip the heart out, get fed to my back so I cannot stop now.
That would be our result, right? I would generally be doing that whilst singing or whilst the vocalist is singing, and just kind of finding a decent level, okay? And then there you go. And from there on out, I don't mind monitoring with a bit of reverb and a bit of flanger and that kind of thing. So
blood on my hands, I rip the heart out, get fed to my back so I cannot stop now.
And that sounds good to me. Obviously then again, as you know, with these templates, you have all of the effects sends set up. So now I could start saying, how much reverb do I want?
Blood on my hands, I rip the heart out.
You know, do I want a bit more delay?
Blood on my hands, I rip the heart.
You can do all of those things once you have done the fundamentals, which is to or cover the fundamentals, and that is to drop the beat, step number one, most important thing, and then just to kind of level your vocal into that. And you can really adjust your microphone gain as well. You don't want to be recording the vocals too loud. That's something I saw in the Discord as well yesterday. Check out the Discord. And you know, it was just basically someone saying that I am ending up with vocals that are too noisy at the end of the process. Now, if you can see how I am recording, I have literally no noise in my recordings, okay? I have set up a workflow that works for me, where I leave the microphone preamp in the same spot, and I'm always recording with those levels because I know them, and I know that it is really going to be the beat that is the problem every time around, because some beats are going to have way too much you know what I mean, crest factor going on. This is really the crest factor. There's just too much going on, and it's just really not going to make for a pleasant vocal recording experience. So to answer Swifty's question as well, how am I able to have a way quieter vocal but an incredibly loud beat? Well, it comes down to then frequency, right? You don't just have to measure sound. Let's just turn everything back on.
Blood on my hands, I rip the heart out, get fed to my back.
You don't have to measure sound just by decibel, okay? You can also, instead of looking at it what would this be vertically, we can look at it horizontally, okay? We need to look at it frequency wise. If you have a beat that has a lot going on in the low end but not that much going on in the top end, in order for us to get a balanced song, we would need for the vocal to kind of make up that difference, right? Do you know what I mean? So it kind of hovers over the hi-hats and all of that and fills out all of that empty space in the mix. That way we can have a softer vocal but a louder beat, because the drums of the beat are generally going to suck up all the energy on our master track, whereby the vocal is going to add all of that intelligibility. So hopefully this video makes sense. This is strictly a theory-based video, but as you can see, if you gain stage properly with just a few simple plugins, you can already get a rough draft sound, which you can then set down for a minute or two, go outside, come back in, and then you can start mixing. You know what I mean? That's generally how you should be dealing with your projects. You shouldn't be mixing your project before you record it. I know it's easy to do that with these templates. You should rather be strictly focused on getting those levels right and getting those rough levels right, so that you can record your whole song, listen to it, understand what's going on, leave the track for a while, come back, and then go, okay, that's what I wanted, and then continue with that. This is also a word to all of the people who are sending their tracks for mixing. Do a little bit of a rough balance, because once your mixer gets those tracks, this is why I ask people for wet stems. I want a bit of that balance going on so that I can go, okay, I understand what they're doing. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I can focus solely on doing all of those little EQ tweaks and all of those little effect tweaks that really make the song sound sweet and sound like candy. That's kind of the difference between an amateur mix and a more professional mix, is that, once the track has that vibe going on, it's just a balancing game, it's just a sweetening game, and that's really what you pay for in a mix. It shouldn't really be, creating a sound for you, right? The sound should really come from that beginning process. Get your auto-tune set up, get your basic EQ set up so you know what your balance is, bass-wise and treble-wise and that kind of thing, and then just stick with that once you're happy with that. Don't go forward until that is done. So yeah, man, hopefully this video makes sense. hopefully you make sure to subscribe. Check out the links in the description below for my vocal recording course, vocal mixing course, and vocal enhancer for FL Studio if you want to know more, if you want to see me either record an artist from scratch or mix a track from scratch and create the template from scratch. It's a very interesting process to watch. I will be doing more courses. I'm just waiting for some more camera gear, almost here, and we're going to redo the parts of the studio to make it more accommodating to all the video stuff, because I have to set up a whole bunch of stuff every time around. But I'll be putting up more content from about halfway through next month, hopefully. So yeah, man, I'll check you next time. Peace out.